Back now on the town hall to answer the questions you've sent us following the guilty verdicts against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin.
Yeah, first up, viewers have asked about the other 3 officers who were there with Chauvin that day in Minneapolis. Their trial is scheduled to start in August, although we expect there will be a lot of motions and different court proceedings between now and then, so it's very uncertain. But we do know the 3 men face charges of aiding and abetting the murder of George Floyd. The other question that we've gotten the most over the past 24 hours or so is about what's next for Chauvin and what we expect to happen when he is sentenced 8 weeks from now.
And every state is different, and in Minnesota there are specific rules and circumstances that will determine how long Chauvin could spend behind bars. Buffalo attorney Paul Cambria explained it this way. The maximum amount of prison time for the most serious charge, second-degree murder, is 40 years. It's unlikely Chauvin would get that since he has no criminal history. Minnesota comes up with sentencing guidelines which would probably recommend 12.5 years. Cambria says prosecutors will ask the judge for more than that, arguing there are aggravating factors here.
There's a set of guidelines for sentencing in Minnesota. And the maximum's 40 years, but the guidelines are like the federal guidelines. They start off with a certain offense gets a certain number. If there's money involved, the number goes up. If you're an organizer, manager, whatever, it goes up. All these factors take it up. It'll be interesting to see whether or not the prosecution will be able to prove so-called aggravating factors and take the sentence beyond the recommended guideline and go higher. And that'll be one of the things that they will attempt to do, and the judge will have to make that judgment.
So now that we kind of have a better understanding of what the possibilities are and how this is going to work moving forward, we also wanted to ask Cambria for his prediction. What does he think the judge will ultimately decide here?
I think that because this case has so much publicity and is so important to a lot of people, that I would not be surprised if the judge did in fact enhance the sentence above the minimum guideline. So I would expect that. Although this judge did seem to be extremely fair, a number of the things that he said, like after the prosecution complained that the defense misstated the law in his summation, the judge could have punctuated that in front of the jury, but didn't. And he said, well, I'll just reread my instruction to them and tell them that, the lawyers are not speaking evidence. They're making arguments. But I still think, the way this has been so political, I expect some kind of enhancement.
Cambria added that after sentencing, attention will turn to a possible appeal.
Yeah, while he's almost certain that Derek Chauvin's defense team will try to appeal this case, or they'll try to win an appeal, he said he did not see anything that he thinks will ultimately be enough to overturn the conviction.